As he pulled the meat off the bone, Chris thought about how life had changed since the before. The before, if it hasn't become obvious yet, is what Chris called the time before American society collapsed. In his mind, there were now 3 epochs. There was BC for the time before Christ. There was Anno Domini, or AD, which is Latin for in the year of our Lord, but often mistakenly referred to colloquially as after death, meaning after the death of Christ. Both of these were known and recognized widely in the Western world, but stood as distinct from what Chris coined BA, or before Armageddon, the before. This epoch, which Chris delineated as the time when people sought to be influencers. Whether through platforms like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, or others, everyone seemed to want to host their own podcast, even when they had nothing to say or nothing of interest to say. At least not to any more than the double-digit number of followers they had. No topic was off limits. That is, unless it went against the official narrative, which always seemed to lean in favor of the immoral or the elite. Sometimes the distinction between those two categories blurred beyond separation. And all of these influencers sought to become millionaires or billionaires without the consequences that often accompanied such accumulation of wealth. Buy my merch was the ask of these influencers. Buy these $30 pair of underwear, or eat this overpriced jerky, because it's organic. Whether your testicles actually benefited from having their own compartment in your underwear or not was less of a concern to these influencers than what you paid for such expensive undergarments. What was once hawked by the likes of professional wrestlers was now being pushed by the daintiest of women online. But in a world of ever-growing access to artificial intelligence, jobs were becoming more scarce by the day. No longer were people being told to get retrained and to start a new career. There were simply no new careers on which to be trained. There was influencer, where you sold mostly junk to others, or gig worker, where you either delivered packages to others or you drove others around, or a politician, where you simply lied to others about everything from war crimes to crimes against humanity as a way to exhibit your diversity. Outside of being born rich or properly planning your future with sound investments in the lottery or Bitcoin, one was very limited in career choices. Chris mused at how he used to tell his friends and family how he was an amateur lottery player, but hoped to someday go professional. Shaking his head, he then remembered how a meal at McDonald's became a luxury for so many of his fellow Americans. Tossing Bob a chunk of thigh meat, Chris reminisced about how some people used to speculate that the patties served at fast food restaurants might just as likely come from cats and dogs as it would have come from cows and pigs. On this thought, he did not linger as he bit into the cat he and Bob now shared.